Welcome to the Anodized Chef. I am your host, Steve Anderson, bringing heavy metal to your stovetops and to your lives. Today we are going to be perfecting pad thai. In the streets of Bangkok, they have carts set up and they call it street food. You walk down the street anywhere, you can get it anywhere. We're going to show you how to make it today. There's so many different kinds of pad thai. We're going to give you a basic stripped down model. You can add all the stuff that you want to it, but we're going to teach you how to make it now. So dudes out there, you could achieve rock star status with this one. All the ingredients are commercially available, yet you will still look like a gourmet by the time you're done. I know it's going to be a little intimidating because there's a lot of different ingredients, but stay with me, ride the course, and you will be the rock star. We're going to get right into it. We're going to start with chicken. We're going to put chicken in ours today, but remember what I said in the beginning, you can use any kind of protein you want. You can use beef, you can use shrimp, you can use pork, but we're going to go with chicken. So what we've done here today is we've actually cut random chicken breast, just a straight up chicken breast from the grocery store, and I've cut it into thin strips, as you can see here, and I've got it in a marinade. It looks like a marinade, but really all it is it's about a half a cup of cornstarch and a half a cup of water. And then I threw some seasonings in there. There's also a half a teaspoon of baking soda in there. But you'll be able to find those recipes over there. So here's your basic marinade for your chicken. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to saute this right up in the pan. We're going to pan fry it. And so what I want to do is I'm going to get this pan good and hot. And there's a little stir fry technique on a quick riff. If you want to check that out sometime, we can really kind of show you the intro to it all. But we're going to get this hot and we're going to add a little bit of oil. And I like to use this blend. It's a blend of olive oil and canola because canola can stand the heat a little bit better. It's got a higher smoke point, so we don't lose that olive oil to burn. So as this oil is heating up, we'll talk a little bit more about the chicken. All I did was I cut it in real thin strips. I took the regular breast of chicken and I just cut it into real thin strips. And the reason why I cut it thin is because I want it to cook really quick. So that's part of the whole stir fry process. So we're just going to cook this chicken up ahead. So then when we start to make the pad thai, we can throw it in at the end and it'll be perfect. Okay, so as this oil is coming up now, we're going to go ahead and start adding our chicken breast to it. And you'll be able to hear it come to life here in just a second. The more pieces I throw in there, the livelier it's going to get. And really, we just want to kind of give these a little, see how thin they are. Like I said, they're going to cook right up. And we're just trying to get it into that oil, and luckily we've got a nice anodized pan here, so it's non-stick. And it's probably going to stick a little because it's got cornstarch on it, and that's really a adhesive. It's like a glue sometimes. But we're going to go ahead and we're just going to brown this up on each side. And the trick is to move it around. Keep it moving. As they move around, they'll brown up in the process, and this will cook right up. So we've got it in the oil here, we've got it on medium-high heat, and we're just really kind of bringing it right up. So as it's cooking, you're going to check it out, see one side here. Alright, now I think it's about time to flip these guys here. Let's check this out. Oh, these are really getting kind of dark. This nice golden brown color on this chicken breast here. And really, all we're trying to do is like make almost like little Asian chicken fritters. The cornstarch batter that you just saw in the bowl there, it's very similar to a tempura, or it's called a velvet sauce. And what that is it's a blend of cornstarch and water, and that's really used to add a little bit of depth to the chicken, and it's to really kind of add a little bit more flavor as well, because you can add seasonings to it. You can put a splash of soy sauce into it. You can add some ginger to it. You can add some salt, pepper, garlic. I did add a little bit of salt in there as well. So it's just it's a real straightforward foundation, and it gives the chicken a little bit more depth. It's not just a thin strip, and it's actually not that bad for you. Paper towel down on the plate here just to absorb that excess oil. And we're going to go ahead and put this off to the side, and then at the end we'll throw this chicken right back in again, right into the pad thai as we're cooking it. Okay, so I've got a whole bunch of ingredients here, but like I said earlier, don't get intimidated by it because it does look like a lot, but when it all comes together, it's going to be worth it. And most of this stuff is, all of this stuff is readily available at your convenience store. I mean, they have aisles now that you can go down that has all the Asian influence stuff side by side. So you just print up this recipe over here, take it to the grocery store with you, and you won't have any problem at all. All right, so let's get started. We're going to start with 2 cups of water. Good foundation for a sauce right there. We're just going to add so many concentrated flavors. We're going to use that water just to kind of narrow everything down a little bit here. Okay, so then we've got about 2 cups of brown sugar. So it matches. It's about 2 cups of brown sugar into 2 cups of water. I'm going to mix that. And just get that sugar just to kind of melt down just a little bit in that water. And then I've got about 1/2 cup of ketchup. About 1/4 cup of white vinegar. Quarter of a cup of balsamic vinegar or tamarind liquid if you can find it. But balsamic vinegar works just as effective. You're just looking for that tartness. So about 1/4 cup, maybe a little less than 1/4 cup of balsamic vinegar. Red curry paste. About 1/2 teaspoon of red curry paste. And that's actually going to get a shot of that right there. It comes like this. It's almost like a butter. It's very, very concentrated. You can add a little bit more of that too if you want. That's where the heat's at. So if you want to bring up the heat a little bit and give it a little bit of a bite, you can add a little bit more of that right into it. We've got about about 1/4 cup of oyster sauce. And that, again, it's like a hoisin almost, but that should be readily available at the supermarket. You should be able to find that right in the aisle. And fish sauce, about 1/4 cup of fish sauce. Fish sauce is it's a specifically Thai ingredient, and it's made with fish. And the last ingredient is lime juice. So what I've done here is I've cut a lime in half, and I've stuck a fork in it. Now just be careful when you're doing this. You may want to do it over another container to get the juice. Just stab the fork in there and twist. And what that does is it extracts the juice. And see how I'm going into this container here? That's so I don't. And that's about 2 teaspoons of lime juice right in there. And that's all we need. We don't need the other half. So we'll go 2 teaspoons of lime juice in there. And then we just whisk it all together. And there's our basic foundation for pad thai. Now I've got my own little spice blend here. This is a salt, pepper, garlic, a little Creole spice, a couple of different other seasonings in there. And this is my own spice that I gave it a name. It's called the Edge. We're adding the edge. A little bit of the edge to our sauce here. That's a good name for it, All right, so we're gonna mix this up and, oh, so fragrant, so fragrant. Oh, I'm getting the vinegars, I'm getting the tomato product, I'm getting the sweetness of the sugar. Oh, that's slamming. Oh, there's the curry too, right on the back end. All right, so that's our sauce. Now we're gonna get into talking a little bit about noodles. I'm just gonna move this sauce up. Okay, so when you go to the grocery store, you're looking for a rice noodle or a cellophane noodle. And this here is a thicker version. There are all different types, and this kind of looks like fettuccine. But it's almost a clear, it's a white or almost a clear noodle. And when you get them, they're really hard and dry. But what you want to do is you want to soak them in water, like I've done here, for at least 2 hours, because now they're softened up. They're almost that regular pasta consistency. They feel a little bit like paper, but when they cook up in the frying pan, it's gonna be awesome. So you want to divide them ahead, and they have, like I said, they have different sizes. They have real thin stuff that looks like spaghetti, but they also have this stuff here that looks like fettuccine. This is the stuff that you'll get at the restaurants or that most people who have pad thai are accustomed to seeing. So that's what we're going to work with today. And like I said, just make sure you soak them for at least 2 hours, because if you try to put them in dry into your stir fry, they're never going to cook up in time. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay out our aromatics here. We talked a little bit about aromatics in the beginning. And what it is we've got some fresh ginger, we've got some green onions already cut up on a bias. Actually, we'll demonstrate how to do that as well. Then I've got a garlic clove here. I've got some fresh basil, and I've got some fresh cilantro. And as you can see underneath these, I've already got some already chopped up and ready to go. But I just wanted to show you what the leaves look like before we chop it up. So let's show you the green onion. Let me demonstrate that first. What we'll do is we'll just take the green onion and we're just going to cut it on a sharp angle. It's called a bias. So see, now when you cut it like this, it looks like an Asian cut. But what you can do is you can group 3 or 4 of them together and do it all at the same time. And then you take this, and we'll put it over there, and we'll come back to him in a minute. So that's what you want to do. You just want to prep up that mise en place, which is a French phrase that means everything in its place. And it's gathering all of your ingredients together before you get started. So let's work on the garlic now. As you can see, I've got some fresh minced garlic in here as well. I've got the garlic clove, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you a little chef's trick on how to get the clove out of the garlic. Okay, because I know peeling this sucks. It's really hard to get the garlic clove out of there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take the edge of our knife. Now be very careful, but just give it a press. You heard that crunch there. What I did was I broke down the garlic clove a little bit. We're going to chop it anyway, so it's okay if you bust it up a little. So what we'll do now is we're just going to take that outer skin off. We've got the clove cut there ready to go. And we're just going to cut the little bitter, this end right here, where it actually meets the plant. That's really bitter, so we want to cut that piece off of there. We'll get rid of that, because that ends up making it very, very bitter. So I'm going to flatten it one more time, and then I'm just going to put real thin strips on it. I'll go this way, very, very thin. This is what you call mincing. Now I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to do the same thing. So now I've got little tiny squares of garlic ready to go. And as you can see, we've got some in that bowl already. Again, as always, be very careful with working with a knife. Alright, so we've got the garlic. Now I'm going to show you another chef's trick about ginger. Check this out. If you take a metal spoon, the edge of a metal spoon, and you could peel the ginger with a spoon. I know it sounds crazy, but check this out. I'm just going to pull back. I'm holding it like this, and we're just using the edge of the spoon to pull back on the skin. And look at that. It's just like a potato peeler. But all I'm doing is I'm scratching it with the side of the spoon, and the skin's coming right off. And look at, not much ginger is coming off with it. It's just skin, which is phenomenal. You want to get your money's worth. Alright, so that's how you peel the ginger. And then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to mince it up a little bit too. So we've got the skin off. Nice chunk of ginger there. Let's cut a few strips out of it. Again, nice and thin, just like the garlic. We're going to cut it into thin strips. But now look, we've got a few pieces here. We're going to stack them. We're going to cut them into thin strips again, so they're almost like matchsticks, like julienne matchsticks. See that? Now they look like little matchsticks. And now we're going to turn it, and this is where the mincing comes into play. We're going to cut it into very small, thin squares, just like we did the garlic. What happens there is when they're really small like that, the oils and the flavors disperse much quicker, and they're easier to eat. Whereas if you put a big chunk of garlic in there, you're going to bite into it, and it's going to be real hot. It's going to be, I mean, some people like that. I particularly like it, but some people might find it offensive if it's in the dish and they weren't expecting it. So that's how you trim up the ginger. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start the actual pan fry process. Okay, so what we've done is we're getting our pan going again, just like we did with the chicken, but now we're going to go ahead and set it up for the actual stir fry. I've got my aromatics here that we just worked on. I'm going to put these aside here, and I have the minced basil and the minced cilantro to go with it as well. And that's more of a garnish at the end. We're not going to throw that in the we don't want to burn it. But I made some garnish here. I've got some scrambled egg, which is part of the standard recipe, and I just basically took some eggs, scrambled them up, put them aside, hold them aside. These are some diced minced peanuts, and what we've done here is that's more of a garnish as well. That'll go in toward the end. And then I've got some bean sprouts, and those three are pretty staple in a pad thai dish. So again, you can add all kinds of other stuff to it. You can add pepper strips, you can add mushrooms, you can add any kind of stir-fried vegetables you want, but these three things are pretty much mandatory in pad thai. So let's go. We're going to keep rolling. Oil sounds like it's come up. It's good and hot, so we're going to go ahead and take it to the next step here. We're going to put some ginger in there. A lot of ginger in there. Holy smokes! All right. Put some of these green onions in there. And what we're doing again is, what's it called? It's called aromatics. We're getting the flavor of that oil in there. So now when we saute the oil, it's going to be flavored with garlic, ginger, and onion. And it just helps to get through everything. So we've got that going real good. Now we're going to go ahead and add some of our pad thai vegetables. Now we're going to add our pad thai noodles. Hopefully that was the grand finale. Now we're going to add some pad thai noodles right in here. Get these to saute up a little bit. Alright, so we got our pad thai noodles in there. We're going to add some of this chicken here. And this chicken should be pretty well cooked, but let's throw it in there anyway because we're going to go ahead and give it a little bit more time in there in the bath. Oh yeah. Alright. Definitely stand a few more noodles in there. Don't be bashful. Okay, now go ahead and hit that with some egg. And some bean sprout. Throw those peanuts in at the end. So now we've got the egg, we've got the bean sprouts, we've got the chicken, and we've got the noodles. Now we're going to go ahead and add some sauce, some of that delicious sauce that we made. And now when you add the sauce, you don't want it to be swimming in the sauce, but you want enough to cover the noodles and bring it all together, because the noodles will suck up some of that sauce as well. Okay, so now we've got everything in here. We're letting this simmer up. And what we're going to do is at the very end, we'll add some peanuts at the end and bring it all together, and that's going to be our garnish. I'll just throw that in at the very end. And the sauce is going to keep getting sucked in by those noodles. You know, the longer it sits, the more the noodles are going to bring that in, especially with the heat. And as you can see, it's starting to roll up the sides of the pan now a little bit, so we're getting pretty good here. We'll be in good shape in no time. And like I said about the sauce, you just want enough just to cover it with a little bit on the sides, because if you add too much, then it'll be swimming, and that's not a good thing either. So, the thing about stir fries is keep the product moving. Keep it moving. We'll add our basil and cilantro now. Now that it's all coming together, go ahead and add those aromatics. Basil and cilantro, the fresh herbs. Yeah, baby. All right, and then we'll finish it up. As you can see, we'll finish it up now with some fresh peanuts right in there. And it is nothing finer. Bring that all together. Oh, yeah. Oh. All right. Now we're going to go over here and just load this up. Somebody call Bon Appetit and tell them the cover's right here. Oh, wait. Yeah. Boom. Boom. This, my friends, is pad thai. What we've chosen for a wine today to go along with the pad thai is a Gewürztraminer. I think I got it that time. It's a white wine, and see, a standard white would be shadowed by the strong flavors that we have in the sauce in the pad thai, and the reds with the oaks and the tannins would seem to overpower the pad thai. So we found a nice balance with a good strong white. And it's perfect because of the edge of the sweetness, and the soft texture makes it balanced with the subtle flavors. So I want to thank you for joining me today. I'm telling you, with all these smells here, I cannot wait to eat. So we're going to have ourselves a nice glass of this nice white wine here. I want to thank you again for joining me in my magic, my mayhem, and my madness. We'll see you next time. Oh, that's good.